Hey, Mama, it's Crystal with Lift the Shame. This is a space for mothers in eating disorder recovery who are learning how to care for themselves with the same tenderness they offer their children. And today, I want to talk about something I think many mothers carry quietly: the hope that motherhood would heal us, or at least make us strong enough to finally leave behind the parts of ourselves we felt so ashamed of. I remember finding out I was pregnant for the first time. And there was so much joy, so much awe, so much gratitude. There was also disbelief because I had been told there was too much damage to my body from my eating disorder. I'd been told pregnancy might not be possible for me. So when I saw that I was pregnant, it felt like a miracle. And somewhere inside that miracle, I made myself a promise. By the time this baby is born, I will be done with this. I will be healed. I will never go back to the behaviors that wrecked my body and mind and stole so much of my life. I will protect this child from what I went through. I will become someone different. And I meant it. I meant it with everything in me. For the first time in a long time, I felt motivated to care for my body, not because I wanted to shrink it, punish it, or control it, but because my body was carrying someone I already loved. And that felt powerful. It felt sacred. It felt like maybe love could finally do what shame never could. But then pregnancy became postpartum, and postpartum became sleep deprivation, and feeding, and body changes, and identity loss, and hunger, and hormones, and the strange grief of looking in the mirror and not fully recognizing the person looking back. My body had brought me the most perfect human being, and still I felt at war with it. People would comment on my postpartum body. Sometimes they meant it as a compliment. They would say something about how quickly I bounced back. And all I could think was, you have no idea what is happening inside my mind. You have no idea the war I'm fighting in here. You have no idea what it cost me to appear this okay. Because on the outside, I could function. I could take care of the baby. I could smile. I could show up. I could say the right things about food and body and health. But inside, the eating disorder was still there. Sometimes whispering, sometimes screaming. And every time I noticed it, I felt this wave of shame because I had a baby now. I had someone who needed me, someone who depended on me, someone whose little face made my resolve feel so strong. So why was this still here? Why wasn't love enough to crowd it out? Why wasn't motherhood enough to make me better? I don't think I had language for it then, but I can see it more clearly now. Motherhood didn't erase my eating disorder. It made it more sophisticated. It learned how to exist alongside diapers and nursing and school pickups and dinner prep and bedtime routines. It learned how to hide under, I'm just busy, under, I forgot to eat, or I'm just tired, or I'm just trying to feel like myself again. And each time I was pregnant, I told myself some version of the same story. This time will be different. This time I'll be stronger. This time I will be more motivated. This time I will finally be cured. And every time one of my children was born, I would look at their perfect face and think, how could I ever go back? How could I ever let this touch them? How could I ever allow this thing that hurt me so deeply to get anywhere near my children? But the eating disorder had never really left. It was quieter at times, louder at others, but it was there. And as my children grew, as they started eating table food, sitting at the table with us, asking questions, noticing things, having appetites and preferences and feelings about food of their own. A new layer of fear opened up in me. I could hide certain things when they were babies, but what would happen when they could see more? Would they notice? What would they absorb? What would my silence teach them? What would my body language teach them? What would they learn from the foods I avoided, the comments I swallowed, the tension I carried in the room? And then came the pandemic. I remember being home with 5 small children in those early lockdown days. The house felt like it never stopped making noise. Dishes overflowing in the sink, sticky floors underneath my bare feet, children needing snacks again, someone crying, someone asking a question, someone needing help with something, a baby needing to nurse, a toddler wanting to be held, dinner needing to be made. And I remember standing in my kitchen, completely overwhelmed and having one very clear thought. I want my eating disorder. Not in an abstract way, not in a passing, harmless way. I wanted the escape. I wanted the numbing. I wanted the familiar ritual of disappearing into the freezer and the pantry. I wanted the relief of letting it all out. I wanted the thing that had once made unbearable feelings feel survivable. And almost as quickly as the thought came, shame came right behind it. Because there I was, surrounded by my children, needed by my children, loving my children, and also longing for the eating disorder. The paradox felt impossible to hold. My children needed me, and a part of me felt like I needed my eating disorder. I remember feeling like I was the enemy, like I shouldn't be allowed near my own children with an eating disorder brain, like my very presence was dangerous. Like if I wasn't fully healed, then I was already harming them. And that shame was vicious. It told me I was a fraud, a mother who talked about all foods fitting while still feeling imprisoned by my own food rules, a mother who wanted to raise intuitive eaters while still struggling to trust herself, a mother who loved her children more than anything and still couldn't seem to love herself into freedom. I can look back now and hold that version of me with so much compassion. But I could not do that then. Back then, I could only see failure. I could only see danger. I could only see the gap between the mother I wanted to be and the mother I felt like I was. But here is what I understand now. The eating disorder got louder in certain seasons of motherhood because those seasons were overwhelming. It got louder when I was exhausted. It got louder when my body felt unfamiliar. It got louder when I felt unseen or when I was needed by everyone and didn't know how to need anything myself. It got louder when I was carrying grief, fear, rage, loneliness, identity loss, overstimulation, and responsibility without enough support. And for a long time, the eating disorder had been my life raft. Not a good life raft, not a safe life raft, not one that could actually take me where I wanted to go, but one my nervous system knew, one that had offered relief before, one that had helped me survive when I didn't yet have other ways to be helped. So, of course, it reached for what I knew when motherhood felt like too much. That does not make the eating disorder good. It does not mean the behaviors were harmless. It does not mean we ignore the impact. But it does mean we can stop reducing ourselves to monsters because an old survival strategy showed up in a season of overwhelm. This is the part I wish I could go back and tell myself. Motherhood was not supposed to cure you. Your children were never supposed to be responsible for healing the wounds you carried before they were born. Their love was not meant to overpower your pain. Their need for you was not meant to become the thing that shamed you into recovery. And your struggle did not mean you loved them less. It meant there were parts of you that still needed care, parts that were terrified, parts that were exhausted, parts that were trying to protect you in the only ways they knew, parts that didn't need more shame. They needed mothering. And maybe that is true for you too. Maybe there's a part of you that thought becoming a mother would make this easier. Maybe you thought pregnancy would make you more motivated. Maybe you thought postpartum would soften the body hatred because your body had done something miraculous. Maybe you thought feeding your children would make food feel less scary. Maybe you thought loving them would make the eating disorder voice disappear. And maybe it didn't. Maybe the voice is still there. Maybe sometimes it's quiet enough to function around. And maybe sometimes it's so loud that you feel ashamed to even admit it. If that is you, I want you to hear me gently. You are not broken because motherhood did not cure you. You are not a bad mother because recovery is still unfolding. You are not dangerous simply because you are still in process. You are a mother who has carried something heavy, and you are allowed to need support while you learn how to carry it differently. There is a difference between being in recovery and being alone in recovery. There's a difference between having hard thoughts and being defined by them. There is a difference between an eating disorder voice showing up and that voice being the truest thing about you. It is not the truest thing about you, even when it is loud, even when it feels convincing, even when it has been there for years. There is more to you than this illness. There is the mother who keeps showing up, the mother who notices, the mother who repairs, the mother who wants something different, the mother who is learning slowly to turn toward herself with the same tenderness she offers her children. And that, my friend, is where I want to leave you today. Not with a fix, not with a list, just with one small invitation. Sometime today or this week, notice one place where motherhood has made recovery feel louder. Maybe it's the dinner table. Maybe it's your child asking for more. Maybe it's packing lunches. Maybe it's your postpartum body, or the breastfeeding hunger, or a body comment, or a photo. Maybe it is the end of the day when everyone finally goes to sleep and you're left alone with yourself. And instead of asking, "What is wrong with me?" try asking, "What part of me is asking to be mothered here? What part of me feels scared, unseen, overwhelmed, or alone? What would it mean to meet that part with care instead of contempt?" You don't have to answer perfectly. You don't have to know what to do next. Just notice. That noticing is a beginning. And if this is a place where you have felt alone, I'd love to invite you to Lift the Shame, my free monthly support group for mothers and moms to be in eating disorder recovery. It's a space to be reminded that you're not the only one carrying this overlap. You're not the only one who loves your children deeply and still finds recovery hard. You're not the only one learning how to mother yourself while mothering them. I'll include the link to join in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I hope you know that you're not alone. I'm with you, my friend, and until next time, we'll see you soon.